Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well and I am back with another video. Still working on those bigger video projects that I mentioned. Who knew in-depth research took so much time? Everyone. Everyone knew. Anyway, I am super excited for this video because now it's officially Pride Month! I know I've mostly discussed my disabilities on this channel so far, but I have also mentioned, without going into detail, that I'm also a queer person and a member of the LGBTQ community. So I wanted to take some time in this video and discuss that other aspect of myself, but also discuss what it's like to be both a disabled person and a member of the LGBTQ community. But to be clear, I'm not an authority on queerness. I don't have a degree in sexuality or gender studies. I don't know all the words or labels or identities. This is specifically my own experience, which I am an authority on. So, first I want to discuss my journey of self-discovery as a queer person, but also give fair warning that my journey is far from over, and if you stick with me on this channel, we may make some discoveries about me together. My journey has fortunately been supported for the most part by all of my family and friends. I was raised around LGBTQ people and was taught that it was absolutely no big deal. I knew I was some form of queer from a very young age, but wasn't sure what or even how to express it for many years. I think there was a large part of me that was worried about ostracizing myself from my peers in the outside world at large, even more than I already was. Because despite the very supportive bubble that was my home life, many of my teachers and peers had very different ideas about LGBTQ people and rights, and I was already ruthlessly bullied for being disabled. There was a large part of me that didn't want to add to that. Nevertheless, I persisted. I officially came out as bisexual, which is being sexually attracted not exclusively to people of one particular gender, or attracted to both men and women, however people want to phrase that, when I was 14, when I had my first girlfriend. My family didn't really react at all, because they had always known about my queerness, even though this was the first time we were openly discussing it. And again, outside that bubble, I was terrified. I was scared to be seen in public with my girlfriend because I knew how homophobic the state I live in typically is, and people here have no issues with yelling opinions at you on the street. As I got older, I became less fearful, and now I honestly couldn't care what some loud, shouty stranger thinks. Even though I came out as bisexual, as the years passed, I realized it wasn't the right label for me. This was also about the time that other labels were starting to become more mainstream and in the public eye. I started hearing people identify as things I'd never heard of before, and I realized that I could find something that fit better for me. No shade to anyone who identifies as bisexual, but that's not exactly the right label for me. I did research into labels, and as much as a lot of my friends were really resonating with the label pansexual, which is not limited in sexual choice with regard to biological sex, gender, or gender identity, and were encouraging me to try it and assuring me I'd be more comfortable with that label, I wasn't. When I found the label homoflexible, which means primarily identifying as homosexual but are sometimes attracted to the opposite sex, that really resonated with me, despite people trying to tell me that homoflexible is just a different word for bisexual. Spoiler alert, it isn't. However, because there are so many labels out there, even I don't know them all. I just use the term gay or lesbian to describe myself because most people, if not everyone, understand those terms. My journey through sexuality, gender identity, and self-expression hasn't been the smoothest. As much as the LGBTQ community has a reputation for being catch-all accepting, it really isn't. Below the surface, unfortunately, there can be found homophobia, transphobia, biphobia, to name a few, as well as a healthy dose of ableism. The biphobia is honestly one of the reasons I wanted to find a different label for myself, because I got tired of defending my existence to other members of the queer community. I was constantly having to remind folks that the B in LGBTQ doesn't stand for balloons. For years, I avoided actually going to pride events or really celebrating my queerness at all because I kept receiving the message that I wasn't queer enough. Add the ableism into the mix and I had a real mess on my hands. And yeah, I'm still receiving the message that I am not queer enough to this day. Able-bodied queer people are just as capable of ableism as straight people, and I have had many queer folk tell me that I am undesirable because of, or that they can't handle my disability. This has made me get very frustrated over the years, because neither the straight dating pool or the queer dating pool will really accept me because I'm too much work. Honestly, my current partner is the first one I've ever had to really handle it with grace. Many pride events have also made me feel unsafe as a disabled person, because a lot of the time we're not taken into account during the planning of those events. I get worried about the uneven ground or being knocked over, etc. If I need to use my wheelchair, there often isn't space for it. Last year was the first time I've been to a pride event in 10 years because I finally had a partner to bring me that could watch out for me. Now, to be clear, I'm not accusing anyone of doing ableist things maliciously. As I've said in previous videos, a lot of ableism is really hard to see for what it is and kinda slides under the radar. So, I wind up still feeling very out of place, but I don't usually feel comfortable saying anything about it because no one is doing anything to me maliciously, and most people assume that I'm complaining about nothing. But I'm not complaining about nothing. Disabled folks deserve a seat at the pride table. That being said, I have found my community of queer and disabled folk, and I feel so at home in those groups than I have ever had in just the umbrella that is LGBTQ. My disability and my sexuality kind of go hand in hand with each other, and this group of people understand and have shared experiences with me. We can commiserate together about having our sexuality rejected by others on the basis of our disability. This niche that we have carved out for ourselves within the community finally gives me a sense of belonging and validation that I can be disabled and desirable and queer all at the same time. That I am fine just as I am. I'm everything I should be. And I am genuinely going to start embracing myself and my queerness the way I should have all along. I'm here, I'm queer. My joint pain is moderate to severe. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Most importantly, happy Pride! Stay safe, stay sane, and I will see you soon.